Hello there, and welcome to 3Spoonies. We're your hosts, Karen, Claire, and Joe. This is episode number 23, and we're going to be discussing motivation. Join us as we dive in.
Three Spoonies is sponsored by Grow Radio. Grow Radio is an online radio station dedicated to bringing you a different podcast on the hour, every hour. We are proud that Three Spoonies is played on Grow Radio and to be part of their podcasting community. If you want to listen to the station, explore their shows, check out their many blogs, workshops, or videos to improve your podcasting skills, head over to growradio.uk today.
Hello, I'm Karen from Pony Pony Pony.
I'm Claire from Sparkle's Gift Boutique.
And I'm Joe from Bright Cat Business Solutions.
And together, we are 3Spoonies navigating our way through life and business with not enough spoons. This week, we're going to be talking about motivation, which is either well-timed or terribly timed because we are all flagging a little bit this week, I think it's fair to say.
That's a very kind way of putting it.
I was going to say that's so kind. We're all failing well, not failing epically. We're just really struggling with some motivation.
We have a lot of potential for growth at the moment.
There's a bright future ahead. We're just not sure how to get there.
There's definitely a nap between it.
This whole week for me has been like, I will find my motivation. I still haven't found it. I mean, I must have found some because I'm here.
It's took me a couple of weeks to actually find my motivation properly, but I was on it yesterday. Today I'm very tired.
Yeah, I think I used up all mine yesterday. I was like, I'm getting things done, and I did. And today I'm just like, no.
I want me bed.
But what do you guys do to help you when you're really struggling for motivation?
I ask you to come on Zoom and keep me company so I don't go back to bed.
True.
There's a lot to be said for co-working, body doubling.
Yeah, if you've got someone talking to you while you're doing stuff, you can't just go, oh, I could just go to bed, or I could just wander off after that shiny thing, or any of the type of iteration of that. It does help. It keeps you chained to your desk.
Yeah, it stops the procrastination happening. Because I can sit here if I'm on my own sometimes and I'm like, I'm going to get this done. And about 2 hours later, I'm like, I've not touched anything I want to do because I've gone down a rabbit hole of something else, or just got distracted by shiny things that I shouldn't be getting distracted by. So co-working is helpful. It really does. It helps me stay accountable as well for what I'm doing. And I get more work done when I'm working online with you guys.
Yeah. I would say in this week's episode of Don't Be Joe, I give myself deadlines on all my client work. And sometimes they pile up because I've got no motivation and I just look at shiny things or I go back to bed, and then it's a bit overwhelming, so I have to do it. Don't do that.
I think
it is very motivating.
It is worth differentiating, though, between low motivation and low energy. While there can be overlap, those aren't necessarily the same thing. And maybe a day that you need to have off in bed because you're exhausted isn't the same as a day when you just can't be bothered.
Yeah, I think today is definitely like a low energy day for all of us. And because we have days where we're not feeling so low and it's like, right, I know I need to get stuff done, but your head's just not in that right space. And that's when the co-working is really good because we can be like, okay, perfect, let's get going. And we get so much stuff done.
We do. But yeah, there's definitely a difference between those two. If you're on a low energy, you just can't do it, go back to bed. Give yourself a break. If you're scrolling through social media and just not doing anything because you can't be bothered, co-working really helps. I'm sure there's other techniques.
I do there's another group I do co-working with sometimes if they're around in the days and you guys aren't there. And they do what Karen does, is it the Pomodoro effect? And that can be quite good. Although sometimes when it's like 25 minutes and it's like, okay, they'll have a break and chat for 5, I still work because if I'm physically making something, I'm like, I don't want to stop. but having that 5 minutes decompression time of chatting kind of helps. And I've got 20 minutes, 25 minutes to focus, and that can be really helpful as well for getting things done, especially if you don't feel like you're getting a lot done in a day.
Yeah, and also I will say to my students with that the idea is you focus for 25 minutes, then have the break. That sometimes 25 minutes can genuinely be a long time. And it's better to say do 10 minutes, have a 5 minute break, and then do another 10 minutes than hit the wall at 7 minutes in and then just stare at said wall for the rest of the time, because you've still done 20 minutes worth of stuff. And taking that extra break, if it means you can get into it, then I'm all for it, to be honest.
I've also found, especially if we are planning to co-work, if I've got something that takes a lot of concentration I need to do, that's not going to work while we're chatting, I'll start with that so it's out the way when we're co-working. I believe it's called eating the frog. Do that big thing first, and then sat with you guys will keep me there to do everything else.
Yeah.
Because otherwise sometimes I will do the big thing and it's like, oh, well, I've done the big thing. And you've got to, when moving between tasks, you've got to reset your brain. And sometimes it just doesn't work. But if you are co-working or you've got something else, music, I find helps me concentrate. If there's that going on, I can then continue into the next thing, even though I have to take that little brain break between them.
Yes, I do music or like really trashy reality TV. It's my go. I don't know why. It's just like it's that awful. I'm just like, oh, it doesn't matter if you're missing something that's on the TV screen because you can hear it and it's like, do I really want to see what's going on anyway? But I think just the background noise helps.
Yeah, I'm a
Yes.
big fan of the lo-fi study beats or instrumental type music, because I'm very bad at the concept of background music. Like if there's something playing and I can sing along to it, I probably will. Whereas I find I'm less likely to get distracted by it if it's instrumental. So it's entirely perfect, but I do find that having music in the background means I'm less likely to notice if there's a fire alarm going off 3 roads away or the pipe's making a weird noise that it wasn't making earlier or things like that.
See,
Yeah,
I'm really weird in that because I can work in complete silence. And I'll have sat there and go, oh, I'll put some music on. And then I'll get, if I've actually got the motivation to do something, I'll actually get going. And then I'll realise 3 hours later I didn't. And I've just been sat here quietly working away.
I definitely need the background noise. It just kind of helps a bit. I don't like being in complete silence. I find that quite hard. But I mean, I don't get. I think because I'm making things, it's a bit different. I love a good sing along when I'm working. A good little Spotify playlist.
I find it depends
Um,
on how much concentration I need. If I don't need much, something I can sing along to is great because then it distracts the rest of my brain from going,
Mm.
what's over there? What we're doing? I'm bored.
it's like you're doing a task that you need to do, but your head's not fully in it. And it's like I'm doing it, but oh look,
Yeah.
shinies.
What's that shiny thing over there? It's like, oh, no, focus. It's like, but this part of my brain's focused on this. We're good. So what can I do? Well, I'll put some music on. You shut you up. Listen to that.
Yeah, even days like when I'm not, say like today, like energy tired, and it's like I know I need to get some bits done. I'm like, well, if I get this done and it's done by then, I can. My bit of motivation is like, get it all done. I can reward myself with a nap.
I
That
also do.
works.
I do that. But I've also like if I've got something that's quite concentration intensive or it's a big piece of work and I just don't have the motivation or the energy, usually more likely, I'll then go, all right, I can't do that today. What can I do?
Yeah,
Can I get some little bits done? Can I get some of my own admin done?
it's like
So,
rearranging your
yeah, so you've done
tasks and
something because there's always more that needs doing, but maybe not that big thing that can wait till tomorrow.
Yeah, it's also like so many of our ideas about motivation are utterly wrong, possibly because certain people have made it their business to talk about motivation. So there are some motivational speakers that talk utter twaddle, and it's like, yeah, you are the wildebeest, you are powerful. And I'm like, that's great, that'll motivate me for like 10 minutes. But is it going to motivate me tomorrow? No. Is it going to motivate me a year from now? Almost certainly not. And that sort of school of motivation, the sort of, whoa, yeah, this is amazing. There are things that, yeah, you're G'd up in the moment, possibly because they're using cult-like techniques, but, putting it out there. But that's not what actually motivates us in life. Like, if you think about why you chose to do what you do, it's because there's part of it you love. So maybe you love making stuff. Maybe you love solving problems. Maybe you love meeting people. And that's the thing that actually motivates you, is doing the thing you actually want to do. So sometimes it's like, I know I prefer this part of the job to this part. So either I'll start off doing that so it gets me going for the rest of the day, or I can have something later as, like you said, Claire, a bit of a reward. It's like, well, if I do this, then I can do the bit I really like. Maybe there's someone out there who really loves phone calls. It's not me, I can tell you that for free.
Not me
But
either.
if it is,
Oh,
it might be start the day with a phone call so you've got a smile on your face, and then have a few for later when you know there's going to be a dip or you don't want to do something big and intensive. Spread those things out, or maybe time blocking things where it's like, okay, let's spread out the things I know I'm going to look forward to and try and squish some bits in between.
Yeah, one of the good things, one of the things I like is if I'm trying to think of like new products or new ideas for things, and my brain's kind of not quite there, and I need a bit of motivation to kind of sit and plan stuff. That's normally when I come up here and I'm like, okay, what can I cover in glitter or rhinestones? Because it gives me kind of a bit of a creative outlet, and at the same time, it will help me think of new product ideas.
Mm.
that's
Because I'm
good.
so I think there's something about sticking thousands of rhinestones on things is just so therapeutic. I can be here for hours, but it's really relaxing, and I think you're so focused on that and making it look right that my brain then kind of separates what things I really want to work on, and I'm like, oh, I could do this, and then these ideas come, and yeah, it just that for me really works if I'm a bit stuck on creative motivation, I suppose.
Yeah. My coach asked me this week or last week, whenever it was, I don't know days anymore, what is it you really enjoy doing at the moment? My answer was, honestly, the podcast stuff. I then had to clarify, not necessarily the recording, it's all the organising that goes in behind it. I'm currently living for that. and it's sort of stuff I do for other people, but because it's mine and well, ours, and it's getting into that intricacy of it, and like how we're doing it, what we're doing, look at my pretty spreadsheet again, that kind
It
of
is a
thing.
pretty spreadsheet. It
Yeah.
is a really good
Yeah.
spreadsheet.
But yeah, organising all that, it scratches an itch in my brain, put it that way.
Mm.
Basically, we need to know how to keep you happy is give you a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Need
But
spreadsheets.
unless it's like, here's a spreadsheet, put all these sums and things.
Oh no,
Oh,
no, no, that's
No,
not no,
no,
no financial
pivot
spreadsheets,
tables.
fun spreadsheets.
no tables, no sums, no. If you give me a spreadsheet that's already got all its calculations in, that's fine. But if it's fine, I don't want that. It's
But
like,
like a
oh,
planning
numbers.
spreadsheet,
Yes, give me a planning spreadsheet.
that works. What's your best way of motivating yourself sometimes, Karen? We may not have spoken.
Um, I think it's a bit of balance for me. And it's not always the same answer. It'd be lovely if it were, but I find it's not. Like, sometimes it's the eat the frog thing. It's like, just get it out of the way, get it done. And other times there's that thing that's hanging over you. And sometimes it's realistically, it's such a small thing
Every
that, particularly
time.
with neurospicy brains, that small thing seems like such a big deal, and you just can't quite do it. And yeah, I need to bring out bigger guns for stuff like that, because there will be tiny little things that realistically I could do in 10 minutes and I just haven't. And yeah, it's not just laziness or procrastination. There's when something becomes a bigger deal than it is.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
it's like your
becomes
head kind of
overwhelmed.
builds it up to this big thing of, like you said, it's 10 minutes to do, but it's your head brain works it up to such a state of it's getting around to doing it. It's such a thing.
Yeah. And then there's that whole drama around it. And often it is not that big of a deal realistically, but especially if you are low on energy, maybe you've not had a great night's sleep, maybe you've had a client call that didn't go quite how you wanted, that can all build up, and suddenly this tiny thing is a massive thing. And sometimes that's the other bit of co-working that I like, is if you work on your own, there's no one to talk to about things. And sometimes something playing on your mind and you talk about it, and sometimes someone else can offer a solution, or sometimes just saying it out loud, you suddenly go, oh, I could just do that thing, couldn't I? But because you've not said it out loud, your brain's not quite processed it in the same way. Don't know if anyone else gets that.
Do those
Oh,
types of
loads
things.
of times.
Those types of things I have to get done quickly and like as soon as they come in, because I can usually identify these days the stuff that's going to become big and overwhelming, even if it's not.
Mm.
And if I leave it, it gets worse. So it's like that needs to be done quickly. Don't let it become overwhelming.
Yeah, there's definitely things that if you can get it out the way before you've had time to build it up and worry about it, then it doesn't become one of those recurring to-do things that's sitting in the corner going, look at me, I'm in your brain.
I've still got things on my to-do list that I'm just like, I'll do it, right, I'll do it, it's fine. But because I find it hard to kind of put words into text sometimes and do all that. And it's been sitting there probably for most of this year. And I'm just like, I will get around to it. But the thought of getting around to it, it is that bigger thing because I'm like, well, how do I word it? What do I do? And
I've got a couple of those.
it's just like, I know I need to do it. And it's like every now and then I'm like, right, I'm going to do this today. And then it's like, oh, but this needs doing as well. And I just go to that. Whereas maybe next time I co-work and we're like, right, doing this, help me. Give myself a deadline on it. Deadlines can help with motivation sometimes because you have to get it done by that set time.
Hmm.
Yeah, unfortunately, my brain realised that's your deadline, not somebody else's deadline. But it's like, no, but if I wait till somebody else's deadline, and then it's like I've got a screaming brain. Also, the monetary thing is like somebody's paying you to do this. If you don't do it, they won't pay you.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I mean, that's a
that's
very
usually
good
their
motivation.
deadline, not mine. Because I like to keep to my deadlines.
Mm.
Well, you doing it by your deadline, it also gives you that bit of buffer if they want to change anything or,
Yeah,
you know, or you're having like a low energy day and stuff like that. It just takes a bit of pressure off.
yeah. The problem is when it comes to several low energy days and then no motivation, and you're like you've lost a week, and you didn't know what happened. Those are the ones I really hate. Mm.
Yeah, because you're like, where's the week gone? I haven't, and then you're just like, it's a bit of a panic because you're like, I haven't done anything.
Yeah,
It's
that
like,
means I've
where's it
got more
gone?
to do next week.
So before we get ourselves into a righties over that, it's time for Spoons Full of Loveliness. So let's listen to some lovely things that you might want to hear about.
It's one of those cold, rainy days where getting out of bed just doesn't feel like an option. We get it. That's exactly why Adaptive Yoga Live is here for you. Our adaptive yoga classes are all about meeting you where you are, whether that's in bed, in a chair, or with a little extra support. We're not talking about a room full of bendy bodies in leggings. This is yoga designed by disabled people for everyone. Because self-care isn't selfish, it's self-love. And let's face it, we could all use a bit more of that. Visit adaptiveyoga.com and join an online community that's ready to help you start your yoga journey today. Adaptive Yoga, here for you. Do you find yourself frustrated by social media marketing, confused by updates or flummoxed by the etiquette for each platform? Pony is here to help with faff-free social media marketing training. From one-to-one consultation and 1-hour express courses to subsidised short courses free for anyone on universal credit. Learn how to spangle up your profile, create engaging content, come up with plans and find your voice. If you want your business to sparkle, shine and stand out online, then this is for you. Gallop over to ponyponypony.co.uk to find out what's coming up next.
So, like we were saying before, some of the most difficult things may be if you've been on holiday for a week, if you've had a week off sick. What do you do to get back into it after a bigger break?
I find that really difficult because I'm all or nothing. It takes me a long time to switch off because I'm a workaholic. And therefore, before I was a business owner, so now my brain very rarely shuts off. But when it does, I absolutely can't get it started again. I have to start with little things, build it back up. Usually start with my own stuff, build it back up, get it into the point. Yeah, we're working now, and then go into the client work.
Yeah, I normally find it hard to kind of, even when I'm away, normally I'll still do bits of work when I'm there. I'm really good at being one to take like a couple of notebooks and a laptop with me. Drives my husband crazy because he's like, you're meant to be like relaxing, not working. Well, last time I went away, I did when I went to Turkey, I took a break. No laptop, nothing. I actually relaxed for 2 weeks. But I was actually kind of excited to get back to working because it was nice to relax, but I'd missed the creative side of stuff. And I was just like, I want to
Mm.
get back and make things. So this time around, it was actually really easy to get back into kind of just cracking back in and being like, okay, what can I make now? And had loads of creative days planning new items and stuff like that. But yeah, sometimes I have to start with like small little bits and be like, right, I should call it like an admin day. What bits can I
Mm.
do behind the scenes? Bits on my website, updating little bits. And that will kind of be my start off day and then build it up as I go.
Yeah, that's fair. I would certainly wouldn't want to have like two full-on classes or something on my first day back. That's quite the ask.
Especially with all the like planning that goes into your classes. You'd be doing that while you're away.
Oh, well, it'd be like halfway through the second one, I might have switched on a bit, but yeah. I like the idea of an admin day to help yourself back into it and also remind yourself what's been going on as well.
Yeah, you need that sort of where am I at?
Yeah. So I try and kind of have a bit more downtime at the weekends now, if I can, and not sit in my office and create things all the time. So I try and use Monday as a bit of a admin day to kind of catch up on what's gone on the website, maybe a little bit of social media, and kind of plan like what do I actually need to do for this week.
Mm.
And that kind of helps me a bit get set up for the week and I know what I'm doing until other things get thrown in and then I'm just like, oh well, that was worth it. I'm like, oh, panic.
What do you do about your big goals? Do you keep track of those through the year or?
I try to. I'm really bad at forgetting about them, to be fair, until I then realise, oh, I've done this. And it's like, oh, I've actually done it. And then I remember it was a goal.
Yeah, it's like it depends where I am in the business. If I am all out panicking, I will focus on the day to day.
Mm.
If I'm knackered, if everything's going fine and everything's plodding along, then I'll look at the big goals. If I'm super busy, those goals are not in my brain. There's not enough room.
That's fair. Although I did have a lovely image of Claire having like a totalizer with number of spangles in as she hits certain targets through the year. So I'm slightly sad if that's not actually on your wall because
It's not, but now, as you've said it, I'm like, oh, what can I put on my wall and maybe sparkle it up as I hit different goals.
What about you, Karen? How do you keep track of yours? And does it help with your motivation?
That is a good question, actually. Yeah, I generally know where I am with my goals ongoing. I don't necessarily track my big goals so much day to day. Like I was joking about the totalizer idea, but actually for some people that might really help to see where you are and that could be a thing. But I tend to focus more on sort of the smaller goals and things and ticking those off and knowing I'm on my way that way. I know lots of people there's various apps where you can track positive habits or things you're doing. And I know that sort of gamification is really helpful for some people because you get a little bit of dopamine buzz and it's like, oh, I've achieved this. And
I
I mean, it
I get
works.
that when I tick something off my to-do list. It
Mm,
there's a little ta-da. It's great.
Does make you feel good, doesn't it? It's just like, yay. Well, because I don't do my to-do list in order and it's just crossing through it. If it gets to a certain stage, there's more crossed out than there is. I have to kind of start a new page and write down the things that are left. And then obviously things get added to it all the time. I'm just like, I can't leave it all kind of crossed out. It just looks messy to me. And I'm like, no, I need it to be organized.
See, that's why mine's electronic. I stick it, tell it to order it by deadline, and then it just disappears when it's done.
I might need something like that just to help me because there's something about just I love the idea of crossing it out and it just makes you feel really good because like, I've done
Mm.
this and then when you look through the day it's like, oh, I've done quite a bit. But then I see everything crossed out and I'm like, but I need a new list that's not got things crossed out on it.
I used to get really excited that I could see the bottom of the list. But I have stopped because I break everything down by each job for each client, and some job I've got quite a bit that repeat each month. At the end of the month, I will put in the next month's log, so I never see the end of that list.
It's
It
just
might say,
ongoing.
no, it might say October, but I can't see the end of that list. It's not needed for today.
Yeah. It's broken down like by months and stuff and
Yeah.
Oh, I need small lists. If it gets too much, my brain just starts going, ah.
everyone's like,
I need to know
panic.
what's important.
Yeah,
Let's do the important things, and anything else is bonus. So I have that master list of all the things, but that's not what I focus on day to day
I
because
don't. I focus on what have I put that needs doing today, but it's still at the top of the master list. And I mean, I've got three lists because I've got one for my client work, I've got one for my own admin, and I've got ones for the podcast and the community. I rarely look at the other two. I go, should I have done something? Or if I'm having an admin day, then I'll go through that one.
we used to use with my students, we used to use stickers, and we had stickers for the Xbox achievements. And because one thing they found difficult was they were like, oh, I've done some work, what's it go towards? And we'd be like, well, that's you've done a 12th of your folder. So we started to do these stickers so they could see how it was building up. And some of them were like, oh, I don't want stickers. But then at the end, they'd be like, you didn't give me a sticker. It's like, okay, there you go. So sometimes I think as adults, maybe we need a bit of that.
I mean,
I
I wouldn't
appreciate
complain.
it. Is it a gold star? Can I have a gold star? I always liked a gold star.
Yeah, it's who is it? Someone I was talking to about, and it was about kind of because we don't always celebrate like the little achievements we do within our business and like little goals that we hit. So she sets like like a little reward thing. So for little things, it might just be something simple as like getting a takeaway in for dinner. And then for bigger goals, it might just be like a weekend away with family. And that's a bit of a motivational kind of goal reward system.
That is good. That's what I'm thinking of this weekend. If I finish all my work for the week and I can actually take a 3-day weekend, I am having a takeout.
And my friends and I book
Okay.
in spa days after a bit. I think it was she's a teacher and we were about 2 days into term. She's like, I need to book a spa day. I need something to look forward to. It can be a thing. I've
And it
also
is
seen
very
some,
motivation. Oh, you've got to earn so much so you can afford this thing. I'd imagine that's quite motivating as well.
yeah, that could definitely be a thing as well. I've seen some great stickers. I've seen like alternative merit badge things. So if there's things you struggle with, so there was one like dealt with a difficult customer and didn't swear at them. That's one for me. Well done.
Where were they when I used to work in retail?
Yeah, I've seen various things like that. Or if, like, I remember the first time I went to a network meeting and I nearly threw up from fear at the thought of having to speak. And we don't do enough necessarily to look at, well, do you know what? That was a huge barrier, but I did that and I've done this and I've put this on place. And that was something didn't really want to do, but I did it, or I've learned this new skill. And I don't think there's enough necessarily as adults where we can look back at things and go, actually, do you know what? Fair play. That was an actual achievement there.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'd agree. I actually find because I track my time for client work, if I look back on a day and it's like, I don't feel like I've done that much, but there's
Mm.
all these things and it's wrapped up so much time. It's like, oh, actually, no, I've had a busy day. I've done a lot. I deserve my downtime.
I
Yeah.
mean, you do. Everyone, we deserve our downtime, and we can't. But this is the downside of working from home. Sometimes is you can get so focused on being stuck in the work kind of mindset. So we do need to have that bit of downtime and step away from what you're doing and kind of self-care. We always talk about self-care, but self-care is important.
It is. And you don't want to hit burnout. And motivation is so much harder when you're tired. And
Yeah.
you've spent hours looking at a screen and nothing's happened.
Yeah, that's the thing. Sometimes as well, you need to acknowledge this isn't working. Let's walk away and come back. And that's different from I don't want to do this, so let's walk away. But I think as well, when you've got low energy levels and things, it can be quite easy to go, oh, well, I'm just being lazy and I could have done that. And you can get into that whole mindset that makes everything so much more difficult.
It does. We've all been there.
Mm. So, are there any last minute tips anyone has for motivation?
Not everything will work for everyone. Find what works for you. And don't beat yourself up about it. Sometimes the motivation is just not there.
Mm. That, and if you really hate something that much, maybe consider outsourcing it or finding a way around it, or maybe doing a skills swap with someone if you've not got a lot of cash money to say, I hate this so much, I will do something you don't like so we can both help each other out. And hopefully that thing you don't like, I actually quite enjoy. How about a specific question for you? What do you do to motivate other people? If there's other people you need to get moving.
That's a hard one. I offer co-working because then I can be like, right, what is, and like help them to kind of put a plan together of what do they need to do that's really important. What can they do now, save till later, and maybe save till a bit later on as well. It's just kind of prioritizing what is really important to do right now.
It works.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes the techniques we've found over the years can help someone else, or techniques that didn't work for us can work for someone else. So, yeah, I think it's always worth admitting to someone, do you know what? I am flagging a bit. Have you got any ideas? Because you never know what someone else will have access to, ideas they'll have available, or ways they can help you potentially. So, thank you for joining us for 3Spoonies on motivation. We'd love to know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for our weekly podcast and leave us a review. You can find us on social media, and we'd love it if you join us in the Business Success Network for Disabled Entrepreneurs Facebook group. You can also buy us coffee if you like what we do. Links in the show notes. We'll see you next week for community questions. Have a great day and keep track of your spoons.